Hi, I'm Tom Aaron, Head of Product here at Mighty Networks. In this tutorial, I'm going to cover creating and managing a Mighty course. We'll cover all the settings and ways to configure your course to help you get the most out of the feature. And most importantly, create your course the way you want to. To create a course in a Mighty Network, you must be on our business plan. If you're just starting out, you can start our 14-day free trial and try Mighty courses for free. Now, you can create an unlimited number of courses in your Mighty Network, and you can have an unlimited number of instructors and students. So feel free to explore the feature and make as many courses as you'd like. We're going to start out here in this Mighty Network I created for this demo called California Architects. Here we're looking at the activity feed where each member will see the posts and articles, polls, questions, and events added by you and your members to your Mighty Network. This includes this featured section you can set up that appears to returning members at the top of their activity feed, where you can feature posts and, in this case, also courses. To the left is the navigation drawer. You can see we're on Home here. Below that are several other items, and here is Courses. One quick note, the Home feed pulls in all the posts from the places that you belong to. So students in your course will see posts from their course activity feed right here in their Home feed, mixed in with all the network level posts and activity. But posts from a course only show up to members of that course. Once you've upgraded to Mighty Business or started your free trial, you'll go to your network settings up here in your user menu. Under Manage section, you'll see Network Settings. Click on that. One quick note, here on the main level of settings, you can find the Mighty checklist, which, among other things, has a quick link to courses. And I really recommend using the checklist to get things set up in your network the first time. It has a lot of links to external resources that can be really helpful, and it guides you through a process that makes it really easy. Let's go back up to the main level of network settings and open Premium Features. We'll scroll down to the section Ways to Connect Members to see Courses. You can see courses are turned on here because I have the setting on, but by default they're set to off, so you'll want to turn them on here. You also get to choose whether only hosts and moderators can create courses, or whether you want to allow members to create them as well. You can see I have it set so that only hosts and moderators can create the courses, which is the default. If you click Manage, you'll see the option to rename what courses are called. You can choose whether to call your courses courses or something else like class or seminar, workshop, or even choose a custom name. Right now, you cannot have multiple names like courses and seminars. You can only have a single term for the overall category, but you can edit that name later if you choose. You can reorder the course list. These items represent the courses I have set up, and we're going to come back to this later, so hold on for that. Next, here you can jump right into the course list. This is the same list you can get to by clicking Courses over here in the left navigation drawer. It goes to the same place. And below that, there's a button to create a course from here. Let's view the course list. Now, as a host, we see all the courses that exist in our network. Those that have plans and are for sale, and those that don't have plans and aren't for sale. Of the ones that do not have a payment plan, some could be public and available to everyone, or they could be private or secret courses. With a private course, all network members can see that the course exists here in the list, and they can request to join, but they cannot get access to the course until a host grants them access. With a secret course, network members cannot see that the course exists at all unless the course host has invited them to it and they have joined as a member of that course. You can make a public, private, or secret course paid by clicking on the three-dot menu here and choosing Charge for Access. Doing so prompts you to create a plan for the course. You can charge a one-time fee or a subscription, which can be monthly, annual, or you can offer both options. You can bundle a course with other courses and groups to sell as a plan to members of your network. As we went over earlier, you can also bundle a course with network membership and sell that plan to potential customers who are not yet members of your Mighty Network. And you can do that on landing pages that Mighty Networks provides. To learn more about plans and bundles, watch our tutorial on payments, which we link to in this video. Let's check out one of the courses, 3D Modeling Basics. Clicking into the course, we land on the Table of Contents page. Now, this is the page that holds what you would call the content or materials of the course. As we add lessons and sections, they appear here. Lessons are the base level item you can create in a course. They're basically a blank page where you can add formatted text, images, videos, files, and various embedded content. Sections are used to group the lessons. Sections allow you to break up your course by grouping related content and making it easier for students to understand. We'll look at lesson and section in a moment, so you can see more about them and their settings. Note here on the left-hand navigation drawer, below Table of Contents, we see a secondary item for Activity Feed. When I click through to the Activity Feed, we can see the community part of the course. You have a fully customizable activity feed here. This is a powerful part of a course. There's no need for a separate Facebook or even Mighty Networks group for a course. The course content lives together with a built-in group. As you can see here, just like the home activity feed that we looked at earlier, hosts and/or members can ask questions or polls, add posts and articles, and set up events for members of the course to interact with. We have several options available when setting up our course that lets us decide how this activity feed appears. We can even hide it altogether if we prefer not to have a separate activity feed just for this course. First, let's go here to my user menu and navigate down to the Manage section again, where we see course settings. You can also get to course settings through the Manage button here at the top of the Table of Contents. Let's click on General Settings, where we manage all the basic settings for this particular course. Here you see a title and tagline area, a description area. There's a separate website URL and location if that's relevant to you. Next up, we can choose whether we want to turn on all-member chat for this course. Then we have branding options like a logo, image, or video, and colors. It's important to fill all of these fields out, the description, branding, and so forth. These are the things we surface to your potential customers across your network in the landing pages and about pages. You want to make sure to include as much information as possible about what makes your course stand out and what makes it worth taking. In the course details section, I see the option to turn off the activity feed here. I have it on right now, and because of that, I have an additional option to make the activity feed the default landing place for students to land when they return to the course. If you choose to make it the default landing place, Activity Feed becomes the top item in the left navigation drawer. Let's take a moment to talk about this setting. Why might you want to turn off the activity feed, or conversely, make it the default landing page? Well, across all of the creators using Mighty, we see a few successful course models that we've really focused on. One model, of course, is a content-focused course, where getting access to structured information is the primary focus of the course. This is the evergreen approach to courses, where people can purchase and consume course materials at their own pace. This also works great for a library or an archive for your members. For this course, turning off the activity feed is a great option. Next is a course combined with a dedicated community that only members of the course can access. This type of course balances access to structured course materials with the power of learning with others in a community. This eliminates the need for a separate group, like a Facebook group, when you have a course. Everything is combined in one place with this type of Mighty course. Keeping the activity feed on, but keeping the table of contents as the main landing page works great for this type of course. Finally is a course model, one that we really love here at Mighty Networks, we call a live course. This type of course focuses on live interaction between members. The activity feed becomes the heart and soul of the course community, and scheduled events let you gather students in Zoom or Crowdcast meetings. Course materials, or the table of contents, become a supplement, but not the focus of this type of course, and they may be even created as you go along. This type of course is great for coaching programs, and for this course, you would default to landing on the activity feed. Okay, end of side note, back to settings. Preview lets us decide whether we want to allow people to view the course table of contents, even if they are not members. By doing this, they will not automatically see the content inside each lesson or section. They will, however, be able to see the table and the titles of the lessons and sections. We can then turn on preview in the settings for each lesson and section individually. We might do this if we wanted to give people even more of an idea of how this course works and what's included by providing a peek inside. Okay, so here in naming, we can see that the words table of contents, section, lesson, and instructor and student can all be customized. We have a few built-in names to choose from, or we can create our own custom terms. This can be changed on a course-by-course basis. Privacy can be changed here. Here, the course is paid because I'm selling access to this course. Our Help Center has more about these privacy levels and how they work if you want to go deeper. Note that when you first start creating a course, it will remain secret until you change it to private, public, or decide to charge for it, in which case you'll need to create a plan. And finally, we see this area about inviting to this course. If the course were private or secret, we would have the option to choose to let members invite or not. However, because this course is part of a paid plan, anyone can join as long as they pay. So there's no setting to restrict inviting here. Okay, that's general settings. Let's go back out to the main level of course settings and click on Course Members. This is similar to what you may see when you go to the Members tab in the network settings for your overall Mighty Network. Here we have the ability to see all members, which opens the table where we can see the total number of members, lets us check out the percentage of progress of each of them, including the last completed lesson and the last visited lesson. There are a lot of options here to sort and filter this list, so be sure to check that out. Here we can welcome new members to the course, which sends a member a note simply saying that you welcomed them. We can message all members in the course, which can be another method to keep in contact with our course members. We can download the complete member list in an Excel spreadsheet from here. Like we mentioned earlier, here you can only send invites to the course to existing members of your Mighty Network. You can copy this share link and send it in an email, but it will require that the recipient become a member of your network first. But if you decide to make your course paid and create a plan to sell the course to an external audience, which are non-members of your network, we have a whole bunch of options to create a sales funnel into the course. So again, check out our payments tutorial for more. Okay, going back out to the main course settings once more, I'll click on Course Content. Here we can turn on or off the ability to post the different types of content in the course activity feed. Quick posts, articles, polls, questions, and events. We can adjust who has the ability to add this type of content, hosts and moderators, or everyone. And here at the bottom, we can decide if we want to have topics, a welcome section, and a featured section, just like you can in the overall Mighty Network. Let's leave these as is for now. And once more, we can jump back to the main level of course settings. And here we see a link to the Get Paid section for this course. Since that is covered in another tutorial, I'll leave that for now. So now let's work on the course material by going back to the table of contents. Before we dive in, let's talk a little bit about visibility of the overview, sections, and lessons. For a new course, by default, the course overview, sections, and lessons will be hidden, so only hosts and instructors will be able to see them. Also, as you add new lessons and sections from the buttons here on the table of contents, they are by default hidden. When you're ready, we have the option to make everything in the course visible all at once, or make overview, sections, and lessons visible individually. You can do that by clicking in the selection box here that appears on hover for individual items, or select all here at the top. You'll see that one of the options here is the visibility. You can also go to the individual settings pages for each lesson and section and set visibility there. Now let's say you want to make some lessons in a section visible, but the section is still hidden. In that case, the lessons would become pending, and they wait like that until you switch the section to visible, and then they will become visible all at the same time. However, the reverse of that isn't true. If the section is visible, you can still have hidden lessons inside of it. Now, you can use visibility to create and begin filling in new lessons and sections without anyone seeing what you're doing. And then when you're ready, you can make them visible. And when you go to make them visible, you will have the option to automatically notify students that new course materials are available. Now, don't forget that only members of a course can see things that are visible. So if you started your new course and it was set to secret, even if everything is visible, only the members of that secret course can find that stuff. So don't forget to change the privacy level if you want your course to become discoverable. You'll also notice that there are several other actions we can perform from right here on the table of contents. You can see unlock settings here at the top, as well as a set of options in this 3-dot menu. We're going to check out the settings in a moment, and we can find out how each of these options works. First, we'll click on Overview. When you create a course, you'll see that we pre-populate the overview with a template to give you some ideas for what to include. You can edit what we've written, or add your own descriptions and bullet points, or delete it altogether and start from scratch. You'll see that the bottom of the overview is different for a host than a member. Course materials always have this settings area at the bottom with a summary of the current settings and a link to manage. Let's look at the overview settings. We see a toggle for visibility, like we talked about earlier, the option for a custom thumbnail image instead of the default, the option here to turn on preview. Like I mentioned earlier, once I've turned on the ability for the table of contents to start showing up to non-members, I can additionally let people preview the actual content of the overview sections and lessons. This last item here is to let you know how the overview appears to students in the course progress card, which we cover in my tutorial on Mighty Courses as a member. Going back to the overview, let me point out one more thing. Here below the settings summary, we have this navigation area, and this is a consistent feature for both hosts and students. And it always points to the next lesson or next section in the list and makes it easy to navigate through the course without having to go back to the table of contents. Now let's check out a section. The section looks very similar to the overview or lesson here at the top, but sections have one difference here below. The lessons contained inside this section appear here as cards. While we're here, we can quickly see a summary of each lesson's settings, take a few actions from the 3-dot menu here, or jump right into editing. We can also add a new lesson right into this section from this button. Below that are this section's settings summary. Let's manage the settings. Just like the overview, we have visibility. Below that, we have a new setting, which is the unlock options. For both sections and lessons, we have the ability to set how this item unlocks. And I'll save that for when we're looking at lessons. The thumbnail options we saw on the overview are the same, and the same preview option. We have the same student view area we saw before. And below all that, I just want to point out the option to duplicate this section. This is a setting you'll find in many of the 3-dot menus in a course. We can duplicate a whole course, a complete section, lessons included, like we see here, or an individual lesson. When you duplicate a whole course, you even have the option to copy all of the posts that have been created by the hosts. Okay, now let's look at a lesson. Text at the top looks the same, but here the instructor has a small arrow next to their name. You can use this to reassign this lesson to another instructor. We can see a full screen video, some files for download here. Finally, we have the familiar setting summary area. I'll open the lesson settings. Let's talk about unlocking and completion options. We see both of those options here. You have control over how students mark lessons complete and how the next lesson or section unlocks. This lesson is set to none, so it is unlocked, which means any student can just open it and consume the content. I could set this to sequential unlock so that a student would have to complete the lesson before they could unlock this lesson. Now, how they complete a lesson is what we'll cover next. Lastly, the lesson can be set to unlock on a timed release. This means the lesson will unlock a number of days after the student begins the course, and you can set the number of days here. Now, next are the completion options. None means there's no tracking of completion. Helpful if you treat the course like a resource library. Visited means simply that opening the page will mark it complete. This is helpful if you want students to remember which pages they've been to, but don't feel they need to do anything extra to complete a lesson. Button shows a button in the bottom navigation area that a student can click to signal they've completed the lesson. And lastly, video. This lets you require that a student watch at least 90% of a video to complete the lesson. You have to use tracked videos for this. Tracked videos are inserted into your course material page with a URL just like a regular video, but there are some restrictions on which videos will work. You can only add one tracked video per lesson. This is perfect for when you want to assure that your students watch important video content. Now, sections don't have completion options. Students don't mark sections complete. They just complete when the final lesson in the section is completed. Next in settings, we can assign the instructor. Instructors of the course are always the host, or course creator by default. But as a host, you can assign someone else to be the instructor of a lesson. And as an instructor, they have the same privileges as a moderator does in the main Mighty Network, unless you make them an actual host of the course. Lessons can only have one instructor, and sections just show a roll-up of all of the different lesson instructors in the section. Okay, continuing, we can turn off comments on the lesson. And the rest of the settings are the same as the overview and sections we've already looked at. Let's add some content to this course. I have a section at the bottom that I've been working on. You can see all the items are hidden, so my current students don't see this section. I'll add a lesson, which is also hidden. You can add up to 500 separate items, be they lessons or sections, in a single course. So feel free to add as many as you need and organize them any way you'd like. I'll jump right into editing, clicking the button here. I'll add a title, then some text. I can add a video by clicking the plus icon to the left of the cursor on New Lines here. That opens a quick insert menu with several options. I'll choose video and I'll add a URL in the tracked video modal that pops open. Once it's inserted, I can click on this video and I see a contextual options menu that shows that it's set to full width, which is wider than the standard width. And I'm going to leave it there because I want this to be the main piece of content that people interact with when they show up to this lesson. I don't want them to miss it. It's very important. So I keep it bold. Highlighting text brings up formatting options. Here we can make this text bold, turn this into a list. We can add a new header, a photo, and then a downloadable file. And when I'm done, I'll click Save and close the flyout. Now I'm going to move this lesson above the others I have in this section by dragging it up. I can drag this lesson into other sections or out of the section to the same level as the sections. For now, I'll drag it to the top. Now let's select it here and check out the settings options. The other lessons in this section are set to sequential unlock because I want students to go through the course in the order I've established, so I'm going to set this lesson to the same. And because it's very important that students watch the video, I want to use video completion. That means that the lessons following this one can't be accessed until the student completes this lesson, and to do that, they have to watch the video. Okay, so that gives you an idea of what the course settings and course materials and the table of contents is all about. Before we end, let's quickly look at a couple of tools for marketing and bringing awareness to your course for members of your Mighty Network. First, we'll simply just copy the link to this course. Then we'll go back to the overall Mighty Network, click on the plus to create an article. In the article, we can talk about how this is a great course for anyone who wants to learn the basics of 3D modeling, and we'll add a link to the course. Then we'll add this article to the featured section of the Mighty Network so that everyone will see it. Now, if an article isn't right, we can just feature the course itself. Let's go back to the course list where we can see several other courses. I'll choose one, click the three-dot menu here in the corner, and select Add To, and then select Featured. It will now appear in the featured section along with the article we just featured before. Finally, here on the list of courses itself, we have some options. We can set the order of the courses and the carousel sections that you see here. We'll move the featured section to the top. And there you have it. You can now get started creating courses in your Mighty Network with confidence. Thanks for watching, and goodbye for now.